I had a call from a First City gentleman that said if you need extra help, that he would be willing to do Lincoln. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay. Thank you. And the last item I have is, oh, sorry.
No decisions were made. Mental block here.
Will you write off Kansas at all?
Okay.
To exceed 500.
We need to discuss a write-off of an account, and we cannot divulge the name, but I think we can approve on this case up to $500.
I'll say. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay.
Okay, the last topic was, at the last meeting we talked about restructuring the department, and I gave you a timeline of this meeting. We were going to present some options. The department was going to get together. We've met twice. We have came up with four options to present, and since the department is still under investigation at this time, I don't think it would be wise for us to present those options at this meeting. So we would like to present those at the next meeting, assuming that the investigation will be closed.
Okay.
Basically present the options to you guys, let you, ask questions and go back and crunch numbers and all that kind of stuff that you do. And then I think it would be wise, and of course this is totally up to you, if then we would hold a special EMS meeting, possibly like within the week after, and if we could have that in the evening so that the EMTs can be present also for that discussion and figure out what we're going to do moving forward. Would be my recommendation. Of course, I can't call special meetings. That's for you guys to decide. If you want to handle it in a regular meeting, we can try to do that. I just think there's probably going to be a lot of discussion.
I think the presence of your EMTs is important.
And if we could schedule this one in the evening, it would allow them to come.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem.
Okay.
And then that gives us plenty of time to publish and all that kind of stuff that you have to do. So.
Well, when we find out what it is, just let us know, and then we'll
The Austin Freitas group will also make a recommendation. So he has his recommendation, and we have to look at what they're going to be recommending.
Oh, okay.
So to kind of tie together.
So are you thinking a presentation at the next commissioners meeting and then a special meeting like
because
the
it's
week
gonna
after that?
be a lot to digest, and then gives you guys a week or whatever to crunch numbers, see what fits, what doesn't fit, and then we can come back to the table and have the discussion and make a
And
decision.
considering that Austin Peters coming out on the 29th, that's probably a really good timing to be considering that all at the same time.
So as far as setting a date and a time, how does that work?
Well, I think it's
I
continued
think
on
we
when they
would be.
close the investigation as well.
Well, my understanding is that Cody is wrapping up his investigation and will submit it for review to me next week.
Okay.
I've scheduled a meeting with Reed at the end of the week to discuss my review at that point. And I just want to clarify here that it's not a criminal investigation of the department. It's a criminal investigation as to whether or not any person inside the department has committed any criminal acts. I think that's a huge distinction.
Yeah, anything you can clear up for us, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge distinction, is that whether or not there's been no allegation of criminal wrongdoing of a public official committing fraud, but whether or not anyone within the department has committed a criminal act. So I would anticipate that by the end of next week, actually before I meet with Reed, I will make a determination as to whether or not there are any criminal charges to be filed. I will say, if I decide no criminal charges and it's kind of just done and that's the end of it, if I determine there are criminal charges, then that's a completely different matter, but it would be based on individuals. And Cody's indicated to me that I believe early part of next week he'll submit the case for me. So definitely before next commissioners meeting, I will have made a decision about whether or not there's any criminal charges or not. To be honest with you, even if there is, I don't think it affects necessarily this, because even if there were, it would be an individual accused of wrongdoing as opposed to some sort of like criminal act against.
I guess what I was concerned with is our plans revolve around our people,
Okay. Mhm.
and I need to know how many people I have, and if there might be reason for termination.
Right,
I just need to know how many players we have at the table,
right.
and that's where I was
And
going
I,
from.
like, by the time I meet with Reed next week, there will be definite answers about that, and definitely before next commissioners meeting. I mean, that'll give you a whole week to kind of
Yeah,
think, so.
and that's fine. I mean, I would be comfortable with you guys setting a meeting date and time whenever you want to.
So like a week after.
I was just thinking a week after, you know,
Special meetings need to be published.
Yeah.
Week after the next meeting?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you guys are, I would anticipate that the 29th is going to be a pretty long meeting.
I think it
just
will
so
be
that you guys
with-
can
with
plan ahead.
Austin Peters.
And there's going to be a lot of information to process.
Can we make our decision next week, or I mean, next meeting then? Or do you want to set a date now?
I think with publication requirements, you should probably think about just setting a date now.
Okay,
Pick one, seriously.
so May,
Yeah, what are we looking at?
May 6th, Friday, you think? I could do that.
when?
May 6th. Would that
That's fine with me. Can you? Yeah. Yeah. May 6th, and we got to set a time. What time do you want it to be?
At what
7?
time for all the EMTs, Reed, what works the best for you guys? Later, earlier?
7?
7.
7?
All right, 7 o'clock. Okay.
Okay.
Here, in this room?
I think if all the EMTs, won't we need more room than that? You want to go with the emergency building?
Yeah, where do you guys usually?
We can
No,
hold a
if
special
there's-
meeting wherever. I feel like there's probably more workable space out
Up
of the
there.
EMS building, don't
Yeah,
you?
we can have it up there.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. And Karen, we'll need that paper, of course.
And that's all I have on my agenda, unless you guys have questions for me.
No. Thank you for all your work.
Oh,
So May 6th at 7.
Before we
Okay.
depart, do we need to make a motion to amend our contract to include performance evaluations? The contract is just for position descriptions.
I'm sorry, I'm not following what you're saying, Rodney.
Austin Peters.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Okay. But weren't they going to get us like an evaluation form that we could adapt ourselves to start using?
I think so.
Yeah.
But
This is what I don't understand, yeah.
What she had indicated to me was that she was going to give us something to adapt so that we could create an evaluation
Yeah,
form.
because
I think
if you
so.
have a position description, then you've got to have an evaluation form to evaluate the performance against that description. But yeah, if she gives us a generic.
Isn't that what we had
I
discussed?
think so.
Mhm.
I
And I think that's
You
probably-
find that out for us?
Send what out?
Find that out?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, and I mean, she's
Yeah.
going to be here on the 29th
Yeah.
to answer detailed questions about their work, policy manual, and
Okay.
so.
It was mentioned in the employee handbook, and that's why I'm bringing it up now.
And we'll talk about that with her on the 29th, but I believe the prior discussion was that they were going to give us a generic
Okay.
form. And I think that's probably going to be most useful because that way each department head has a generic form to go to, and then they go to the job description.
Sure.
And essentially we'll go through the evaluation form referencing back to the job description. And I think having that generic form is going to be better than having them generate a bunch, because then you would be generating
Well, not only
literally
that,
an evaluation per job description if it were going to be that detailed.
I think they charge $90 per form if they do it, so. If we can do it ourselves, I think we ought to be doing it.
Anybody have further business? Comments? Concerns? Okay.
Want to make a motion to adjourn?
All those in favor
Second motion
signify
to
by,
adjourn?
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?